Hello, and welcome to Recent Activity, your new favorite entertainment review podcast that attempts to cover every film, every show, all at once. I am your co-host, Andrew Morgan. With me, as always, he just won a lifetime supply of Fun Twink cereal. It's Shane Beauregard. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, buddy. What a shitty prize that is.
I know. I was like, what? Although I did toy with going old school from the 87 one and just saying you won the at-home version of Running Man, the board game or whatever. I was always like, what the hell do you do with that game? Because this is like 1987. I know there's a setting it in the future, but... Right.
I thought the same thing on the rewatch. I'm like...
What is that game? What are you doing?
I don't know.
Is someone the hunter and is it literally a board game where you're chasing them around the sectors and shit?
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I need answers. Exhume Richard Dawson's body. I need answers. All right, I guess I could just ask Arnold. Anyway, the point is, today on the pod, we are going to cover the new version of The Running Man, the Edgar Wright version, starring Glenn Powell, and we will contrast and compare our feelings to the 1987 version and kind of see what is happening here, because the scores are all over the place. The box office is an interesting place, so we will get to all that coming up top. Later, we will talk a little TV. We will do a TV update. We will talk season wrap-ups for Slow Horses, The Lowdown, Chad Powers to complete the Glenn Powell circle. And we'll also talk about Shane caught the beginning of Pluribus as well, the new show from the makers of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So we will do that as well. But Shane, let's get into the Shane lane, as it were. Let's get into 1980s movies being reduxed from their Arnold legacy into the modern age. Let's talk The Running Man. We have Edgar Wright, not coming off of his best movie. Last Night in Soho came out a few years ago and was a critically divisive, mostly people being kind of about it after probably having an incredible streak, if I may say, of well-constructed movies, if not hits, over and over, dating back to, the Cornetto trilogy, all the way up until like Baby Driver and the like, Scott Pilgrim in between, which I had a lot on my mind with this movie. And, this is him coming back, doing a Richard Bachman, a.k.a. Stephen King novel, and kind of a remake of the 1987 Arnold Schwarzenegger film of the same name. Though I'm sure you're steeped in it because you're an Arnie guy, you're an 80s action movie guy, you're an action movie guy in general, that the differences, like these two movies are like practically night and day, and part of the reason is one is a little more closer to the book than the other.
Correct.
So, the Stephen King one is actually more like this one, and the old one, the Arnold Schwarzenegger version, is definitely more like they took the basic construct and then just went cuckoo bananas with a bunch of like Arnie one-liners to fill out the roster, essentially. So you couldn't have, especially for being a remake, you couldn't have more different of movies in this case. And this particular one came out this weekend, did 28.2 million worldwide, 17 domestic. It came in number 2 to Now You See Me 3. So that's a little bit of a tough pill if you're thinking in terms of like, especially you got Glenn Powell, and we'll talk about his star power or lack thereof potentially, and we'll go through all that. The scores are interesting. If you go more on the critics side, talking a 55 Metascore and a 64 Rotten Tomatoes score. Not great. If you're talking the fan side, 79% popcorn meter, the audience side on there, a 3.3 Letterboxd, a 6.8 IMDb, it's not so bad. So audiences definitely like this movie more than the critics did. And we're a little bit of both, so this conversation should be interesting. You also rewatched The Running Man from 1987, something that we probably, definitely watched multiple times, either on cable or something over the years. Although this isn't really the Arnold staple, as it were. right? Like this,
Right.
this came at a very interesting time in Arnold's career, and he was coming off of, he had done the Conan films, he did the Terminator, he did Commando, and Predators actually released the same year, but 5 months before. So he was crazy hot. And so that movie at the time seemed to be just another piece in that, but just probably a lesser so. So this is why it could probably be remade. But so where's your journey with this? Because I know you're a big Arnie guy, all those things that we mentioned before. Where's your brain with, once you knew that this movie was being remade, what you gained from the rewatch potentially, and where you are with this one that just came out?
Whew, this is going to be a loaded conversation. Okay, so I'm going to try to break this down just by separating the movies for now.
Sure.
I think both of us had high expectations, or at least I had high expectations for this movie, especially when Edgar Wright was attached to the film. Of
course.
Right? Because we both like him.
Yep.
We both like Glenn Powell. We saw the trailer for it. We're like, this is going to kill. There's something to be said for taking the construct of a short story and going cuckoo bananas, as you put it.
Yeah.
Because that worked. This movie, script-wise, was all over the place. It was soulless. It was humorless. It was boring. They took all the the one-liners out, the joy and humor. I thought for long stretches, I didn't care about this movie at any point.
Right.
I thought for a great cast, I thought they wasted Lee Pace. I thought they wasted Josh Brolin. I was just waiting for this movie to end. The only stuff that worked in this movie is when Michael Cera entered the picture. That scene at his house was probably the only stuff that worked. And I'm not really blaming Glenn Powell for this, because I thought he was okay. I thought he worked with what he had. Now, when you transpose this against the Arnold movie, which again is vastly different, that movie is superior to this film in every which way. You had stalkers who had life and personality. You had the great corny, whatever you want to call it, one-liners. Right. You had humor in it. And Richard Dawson was way more of a villain than Josh Brolin's portrayal of Killian. They gave more of a story to Arnold and why he was in the running, man. You got glimpses of Glenn Powell, but they didn't really say why he was blackballed, Right. So I was kind of waiting for that. And then you introduced the other two characters and
Katie
the other
O'Brien
guy.
In this one.
Yeah. You introduced Katie. And for some reason, you thought they would link up kind of like the three in the first one. No, they were totally independent of each other. Why even introduce those characters?
Well, Katie O'Brien's what's supposed to be his neighbor. That's supposed to mean something.
Yeah.
When we saw his apartment for all 5 seconds.
Yeah. And it never comes together. They never show them on screen together. And it's I don't care about these ancillary characters. Why even introduce them if you're not even going to show them or even work in tandem together? Yeah. Yeah. I thought William Macy was wasted. I mean, a good cast.
Yeah. Explain that relationship to me.
Yeah. I don't. There's a lot that I felt script wise they left on the table here. And for a 2 hour and 15-minute movie, that's hard to do.
That's the hardest part. I think, because you're adding, I think it was 31 minutes from the original.
Yes. You should have had that all fleshed out. Now, I did read the short story, and this was, again, a lot closer, though the ending was still a little different than the novel or the short story.
Do you remember how so?
Yeah, the short story, he actually flies a plane into the building. That's how it ends. He actually succeeds. Yeah.
So it's close, but not exact.
It's close. So, they did a bad job at making Ben Richards that cult hero in this movie, I thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Compared to the Arnold in the crowd and just, I don't know, man. The first one is cheesy, but it was just more action, colorful characters, better villain. Richard Dawson killed it. I even laughed on the rewatch when that old lady bet on Richards for the first time because she was he's a mean motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had all that, man. You had life. You had enjoyment. This movie, again, was soulless and emotionless. And I was thoroughly just angry at this film. I was mad when I left. I'm I cannot believe that this is Edgar Wright's worst movie. I just don't even, I don't even know what else to say on this. I'll let you go for a couple minutes.
Well, what I'll say is I echo a lot of the same things you're saying. I thought it was tonally inconsistent. It didn't feel like an Edgar Wright movie, which is baffling, right? Because how much of a layup does this movie seem like it should be for him, right? The guy who can do stunts like Baby Driver and can do fun competition, kind of almost video gamey stuff with Scott Pilgrim. And you look at the Arnold version and you're just like, what a perfect guy to do this. It just makes absolute sense. That's nothing close to what I thought this was going to be. They literally had the blueprint also with Glenn Powell. Like, once he started to be like, oh, he's going to have like costumes and go hiding and do all these things. Oh, that's fine. It'll be like a little bit of the Hitman jolt, right? Because we had a lot of that with the Richard Linklater movie. But yeah, it just doesn't work. And as you noted, the Michael Cera thing is probably, between that and the bridge explosion, was probably the only times I really kind of stood up and took notice. It's a very odd construction. It's tonally, like I said, all over the place. The script is a mess. The toughest part is, like, you got Glenn Powell, who his best register is being like either sarcastic, charming, like even probably slightly over the top. He's coming off of, roles in Maverick and Twisters and other and Hitman, where he gets to be like a little bit extra and a little bit like cowboy and a little bit, I don't know, just a mean son of a bitch, maybe. Shane, wouldn't that be interesting?
Right.
So for him to be somewhere on that line, and the movie just goes, it tries to be like, all right, we're going to be more serious because let's swap out the 1987 version of Arnold worked for the government, had enough, got blackballed, got framed, went to prison, got a team to help him break out of prison, made allegiances with those people, and then move that story forward. And instead, in this version, we're talking about him having a family, him having to make money for that family, for his child to get better medically, and then he ends up doing this. But God, the lack of emotion in any of it is terrible. Like, it just doesn't click at all. I didn't feel any chemistry between him and his wife. I didn't feel anything, like, I didn't feel like that longing for him. I know he's in the middle of a game and whatever, but it's also odd that this is a month. I know in a show, right? It's probably multiple episodes.
Right.
So I get it. It's probably like a season of television, right? So it's like every day is a new update and whatever. Like, you keep checking in, and it's like, like watching Survivor or whatever. But yeah, I didn't feel the gameplay aspect really. Like you said, all the hunters are masked or have no personality or no character to them. The one time they try to is with a masked character of Lee Pace, who you're like, man, have you seen Lee Pace? Don't put a mask on Lee Pace. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. That man's a grown-ass man looking great. Like, he's a fucking zaddy to that community. So, like, that is a thing. Why? And, again, for all the stuff that went on in the original, they literally went full American Gladiators with that shit. They gave them like cool names and cool weapons and all those things to try to like spice it up, right? Give it a show. This movie didn't feel like it was giving it a show. And the weird, interesting switch, and I don't know if they did this in the book, to have Josh Brolin be the producer, who's kind of the true person, puppeteer of it all, and then have Coleman Domingo be the host to just kind of play it out, is a weird mix. Like, just have one. Richard Dawson was enough. He did both. Yeah. He carried it out. He had a team that was a bunch of like, either character actors or whatever. Just fill out the roster. They're all yes men. They're all trying to carry it out. Nothing. Coleman Domingo is a strange character because he's like glitz and gloss and he has enough personality, but he has no connection to anything and feels like he could just drop it at any time. So what does that do for the story? There's a lot of just things that could be forgotten or fallen off or whatever. And then for a movie to also be bloated on top of it, what am I doing here?
Yeah. Another aspect we didn't touch on, and they did a way better job in the original Running Man, is the whole Revolution network.
Yes.
Like that was established early on in The Running Man and carried through. Like that ended up being the mission, is jamming the network and showing the truth. This one really didn't even establish that like at all.
Yeah. And to make it more pathetic, him trying to get his job back was probably one of the worst scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah. It just, again, angry at this movie. Just angry at this movie.
Now, is it anger because you had expectations that they didn't
Yes.
meet? Is it the expectations laid by the Arnold movie, or just that you thought this was going to be better executed by the talent they had around it?
I thought it was going to be better executed by the talent they had surrounding it.
Okay.
Like, again, the cast was great. Edgar Wright, I thought, like you said, coming off of Baby Driver, which is one of my favorite movies, and I just thought, like, what a team to handle this and make it closer to the book.
Yeah.
And still have, again, some kind of dark humor in it from time to time, some charisma, some character, some flash, some bang. And this was just dead on arrival. Like, again, like we both said, just soulless, just no emotion at all from anybody.
Yeah.
And going back and watching Richard Dawson, you really hated Killian. Like, you hated him in this one. I didn't think Josh Brolin came off as that much of a dick at the beginning. You know what I mean? They didn't do enough job to make
you sensible for
really,
a shitty position, but yeah, sure.
Right, but they didn't really do enough to make you hate him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the scene
he
with the
doesn't take
janitor
that extra step over the line.
Yeah, like Killian in the first one when the janitor bumped into him, he's like, if that guy's mopping floors by Monday, you'll be mopping them all week. He was a dick, and you just really hated him.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, just an epic fail. So I don't want to put this on Glenn Powell again, because I still think he, like you said, he's an up and comer, he's a riser. I think this was just a misstep. I don't think this will hurt him. I still want to see him in a lot of stuff, and I still think he has screen presence. So I hope this doesn't, put a big ding into him.
Yeah, I really like him, and this is not where he should be. And it reminds me of, I was listening to a conversation, I think it was on Bill Simmons or somebody, and they were talking about Ryan Reynolds. And I don't want to say they're exact, because Powell's trying to actually be more Tom Cruise than anybody, but he doesn't have certain qualities of Tom Cruise. So but the thing that interests me is, like, okay, the beginning of Ryan Reynolds' career, he's in Van Wilder, and it kind of kicks things off, right? He kind of breaks out in a particular role. And then it's like people get this thing of, well, let's make him a star. Let's put him as a starring role or next to starring role. Put him with big stars. Let's put him in some big things that are going to make him pop. And Ryan Reynolds tried to do that for a bunch of movies, and nothing worked. Like, he would be in a rom-com that was mediocre, like with Sandra Bullock or something, and then like the Green Lantern stuff and all this other crap that they tried to have him do that just really didn't work, because he just kind of is the Van Wilder. Like, he is Ryan Reynolds. He doesn't have like this huge range of things, or at least at the time he didn't, right? And then he gets Deadpool and his whole career changes.
Yep.
And I think Glenn Powell just needs whatever that is. And I mean, I'll talk to you about Chad Powers in a minute, because I don't know if that's it for him either. But I feel like he just needs something to pop. But I don't know if it's not something like a comic book movie or something. Like, name a franchise that just gets created out of thin air these days. Like, that isn't a comic book movie, or isn't some spin-off of another franchise that's already going or something. And I don't know what that is for him. And I don't think he's interested in that either. I think he wants to, again, kind of go the Cruise way of, like, he wants to make his Top Gun. That way he can have a legacy going forward. He wants to make his, name it, Mission Impossible. Like, he wants to be a part of something that he's going to have a career going forward. And this isn't it. He's done a lot of interesting things that I like. He's made a lot of good decisions. Like, signing up to work for Edgar Wright in something that seems fun on paper is not a bad decision. And this is not on him. I think the script let him down, which is insane, by the way, when you're talking established Stephen King story, written screenplay-wise by the team that made Scott Pilgrim together. And you're writing the fucking Running Man. What? How did this go wrong? So, all right, bottom line for me then, Shane, because I'm a little all over the place because I don't think it made me as mad as maybe it made you. I was just kind of listlessly watching this, like there's no passion behind any of it. It just kind of happened to me, it feels like. But there are scenes in here and enough star power in here that I don't like hate it or anything. It's really in that nebulous mid-range zone of like, I wish I could give it a 2.75 kind of a vibe. Where do you sit with this one?
To me, and this is being gracious with this scoring, because I really wanted to give it a lower score, but I didn't. I gave it a solid 2.
Oh, wow. You're like that mad.
Yeah, I'm upset. I'm like really upset with this incarnation of the Running Man, especially when you watch it and then you watch the Arnold version. It's a 2. I almost gave it a 1.5 leaving the theater. I really did.
See, okay. Well, here's a question for you before we move on to more Glenn Powell with Chad Powers. What do you like? What's your like feeling, grading, ranking, sort of the Running Man in like the Arnold canon? Because to me, like, I guess part of my grading and part of my feelings about this, or maybe my lack of conviction or lack of anger with you, as opposed to you, excuse me, is that I don't hold a candle for the original Running Man. Like, I like certain aspects of it, but I think some of the one-liners really get to me nowadays. And like, 'cause especially when he's like doing the I'll be back in there, it's like, get the fuck out of here. Come on. You know, like you can't take another movies thing. That's stupid. And the showmanship and the other stuff I still enjoy on some level, but there is like a disconnect of story after a while once they just keep kind of being these repetitive actions and trial and tribulations with the what do they call it? They're not hunters. What are they? Seekers? What are they called? Stalkers. Thank you. So I don't know. I just don't like. I think both of those movies are flawed. They're just flawed in different ways. The only thing that I wish is like I think there's a perfect combination of this movie and the Arnold movie, and we'll never see it because both of them weren't genuinely that successful. Like, do you remember if this was like a huge movie? Because I was 5. So I don't have no context, and I only just get it from the repeat value. But I don't think to a man, somebody's like, oh yeah, the Running Man is like top even 5 Arnold.
Yeah, correct. I don't think it did well when it came out. But if I had to objectively score, and you know me, I'm the biggest Arnold fan walking the planet.
Yeah.
I had fun with the movie, but if I had to objectively score the 1987 Running Man, I'd give it a 3.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it was fun, colorful, and I had a good time with it.
Yeah.
So it's not as upper echelon, but it's a solid 3 in my book.
Yeah. See, I think that's kind of like my thing. Is like where I was like, oh yeah, this one's I'd love to give it a 2.75, and the other one I think is you're right. It's probably like a 3. Like it's gonna eke it out, but that's why I'm like not like mad. But right. I think you giving it a 2, you're mad. Like you're big mad. So you know. But let's see if you're big mad even a little at Glenn Powell, because you're going from the Running Man at least being disappointed. You mentioned you're not disappointed maybe in his performance or that you don't think this is his fault. You were the one who watched all 6 episodes of Chad Powers on Hulu. This is, again, another thing that's in your register. It's like a sports comedy. It's light. It's fun. Did this work for Hulu? Because it felt like it just came and went. I didn't hear a lot of conversation around this show.
Yeah, I think it came and went. There wasn't a lot of conversation. In fact, I don't know too many people who actually saw this show.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, and this, for people who don't know, this is based on an Eli Manning skit he did several years ago where he went as Chad Powers to try out for Penn State. And then they made a show about it, which I think Glenn Powell actually produced. It was one of the producers on this show as well.
Well, and Eli and Peyton, too.
Yeah, Eli and Peyton. So this show, though, is like you said, it's lighthearted. It is funny. It has its moments. To me, this is more his lane because it shows off his comedic chops. He does have a range of emotion in here. It's about a story of redemption. You know, he's the star quarterback of Oregon. He's in the biggest game of the year. They're playing Georgia, and he ends up letting the ball go at the 1-yard line instead of carrying it to the end zone. His life kind of like goes south from there because he gets into a sideline scrimmage and he ends up punching some kid in a wheelchair that has cancer by mistake.
Jesus.
That goes viral. and he's trying to make it in the XFL, and he can't make it, and he gets his chance to kind of reinvent himself because his dad's like a costume designer for Hollywood, and he ends up stealing one of his kits and creates the Chad Powers persona, and he walks on and ends up getting the starting quarterback job. What I was surprised about was the actual cast for this show. Because, again, I didn't really read into it as I watched it. I just watched it because of the concept and Glenn Powell. But you have Perry Matfield in here, who is great. She was in, I forgot the Netflix show, but where she plays like the blind person who ends up like solving a crime. I forgot that what that was called. Oh, In the Dark. She was in this show called In the Dark, yeah, which was really great. It also has Steve Zahn, who I always like to see him on screen. You actually have Clayne Crawford as well, who is in some TV shows and some movies as a character actor. So the cast is really good, but this movie did balance the humor, and then it got emotional, and his redemption story and him trying to be a better version of himself, because that comes out through this show. Like, he's trying to hide from who he is, and he really like buys into the persona because everyone likes Chad Powers.
Right.
No one liked the other guy. So, yeah, though I thought it could have been funnier at times. I thought if they would have went a little more eastbound and down, it could have worked a little bit more. But being Hulu, they kept it more on the up and up, and they didn't go into the HBO world of that.
Right.
Because it did have some eastbound and down vibes once in a while. And I was kind of surprised. I think we mentioned this one time. Like, I thought it was 8 episodes. So when it ended after the 6th episode, I was like looking for the next episode. When's it coming out? When's it coming out? And no, that was the season finale. So at the end of the day, 6 episodes, it's like 35 minutes of an episode. It's a good time. It'll put a smile on your face. And Glenn Powell, to me, kind of shines in this role. And I like the persona he built and the cast and the chemistry. To me, this show worked. And it's just a fun show to have. You'll rip right through it. So to me, good project for him. And I hope they have a season 2.
Okay. Which, by the way, there's been some updates on some TV shows getting renewed or canceled that I've been losing my mind with, going back and forth, where you became the champion. You won because Alien Earth is coming back for season 2 with FX on Hulu or however it works. And then was The English Teacher got canceled. That won't be coming back for season 3. And there was one more. Do you remember what it was? Where I was
Poker Face.
Oh, Poker Face, which is like blindsided me. I'm like, this is Ryan Johnson. What the hell, Peacock? You have like 2 shows. Why are you canceling one of the good ones?
Shocked that they canceled Poker Face, and hearing that how Ryan Johnson's trying to shop it around now to other networks from what I'm reading.
Yeah, but shopping it around without its star.
Yeah, that he wants to go with Peter Dinklage now.
Yes.
Which is weird to me. Like, how are they? Okay, that's another discussion, but I don't know what they're doing with that right now.
Poor Natasha Lyonne, and she's co-producing potentially the one they want to shop too, because she co-produced this one. I feel bad for her. She was great.
She was great. Yeah, it's a great show.
It's a great show. I could see it being an expensive show. That's the only thing where I could see it, where maybe they pare it down. But that was the brilliance of it. That was the good stuff. I don't know. I guess we just, we didn't know what we had. Yeah,
that's always the case. That's always the case.
We didn't know that we were living on borrowed time with it because it was so expensive that it had to probably hit a certain threshold. But it's like, how much can it do? It's on Peacock. Like, what are we doing? And again, that show, they should easily play reruns of it on NBC, because that's a perfect show for that. They can easily get. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm already losing my mind. But let's keep on the FX Hulu train here, Shane. The Lowdown. You just finished this up. This wrapped up a few weeks back, and I gotta tell you, man, Ethan Hawke is on some kind of heater, and this is one of his best roles he's had in some time, in my estimation, or at least like I enjoyed this register. I think this was a show that I felt like I had to sell you a little bit more on, because this isn't exactly your register, but because to me, you knew this had me. You knew this was like, oh, it's pulpy. It feels Coen Brothers-ish. If that comes out of my mouth, I'm going to be all over it, right? So this is kind of exactly what it was. It wasn't as moronic, but like it lives in that register of like a guy in over his head, big time crime, family conspiracy, government intrigue, all while sitting on this kind of like low rent, journalistic pride version of a show, like a dusty show like this that is living in the stacks, living in like a different world than everybody else. And again, that's how it gets that pulpy vibe. I think it worked for me, man. I was all on it. This is probably one of my favorite shows of the year, and it gets in and out. My big problem, Shane, is one, I need to know if somebody like you who maybe wasn't sold from the start did get into this, and do you think it's going to return? Because I don't know. Because Reservation Dogs, that guy, Sterling Harjo gets a lot of credit, and I don't know if that had the ratings, but they kept it going because it was a critical darling. Is this going to be another one of those? Does he have enough with this show to keep it going? I'm curious to know all of those things from you. Where do you see it?
Yeah, it took me a while to warm up to this show. I did like the pilot, right? And then I kind of set the show on the back burner because we have just so much to watch. And I'm like, it was entertaining, right? Yeah. But then, lo and behold, the flu will do a lot of things to you. And during my comatose, I was like, you know what? I could catch up on this, and I breezed through the remaining episodes.
Yeah, and
you're right. Like I'm a fan of the Coen Brothers, like you. Probably not as big, but like it has that feel, and like you said, the pulpiness of it. As much as Ethan Hawke's character kind of just made me want to shower all the time.
He is a greaseball. Yeah.
Yeah, he was terrific. I like the dynamic between him and his daughter.
Well, I told you she makes up for the fact that she was the fire starter, and you now can forget that, right?
Yeah, she definitely does. I liked her in this show. I love David Keith, like the last episode. I thought they nailed it with the finale. I really did. Like the funniest parts outside the Peter Dinklage episode, because that was my favorite episode of the season.
It was mine too. It just was like a comet. Like it's in the middle of the season. It's so good, and then it just goes away.
It kind of broke everything up for a little bit. You know what I mean? It kind of like just broke up. It needed it, to be honest. The story was kind of like, man, he keeps getting in one thing, and now we got this going on. I'm like,
yeah.
But it came at the right time, and Peter Dinklage killed it. I loved his character. Them two together was hysterical. But again, I like David Keith. I like their dynamic. Like when he gets shot and he gives him like the cow.
Keith David.
Yeah, Keith David. Sorry. Keith David. Sorry. When he gives him like the vet pills and he's like, you gave me stuff for like cow vagina or something like that.
He's like, moo.
Yeah. I was dying. Such a great dynamic, man. But yeah, I like the mystery of the show. Great cast. So yeah, I would highly recommend the show. I can see it being in my top 10. I don't know if it'll crack my top 5, but I do think with Ethan Hawke's character being a true historian, I like that phrase, that I think obviously there's enough material where they could have him dive into another hole like he did.
Yeah, this is completely repeatable.
Yeah, it's really repeatable. And again, he kills this role. And I would like to see a second season. I really would. So I'm on board, man. I'm glad you got me there. It's a great, great show.
Yeah. Gene Triplehorn, Kyle MacLachlan. There's so many good people in this show, and they're just incredible. Like Tracy Letts, Tim Blake Nelson, and when they do a lot of his flashback stuff. And to be honest, like I thought some of the funniest stuff or some of the most effective stuff as far as the comedy was concerned was whenever he would get like robbed and he had to deal with his security people that he hired that were like the gangbangers or guys just coming out of prison that kept calling him pedo because he drove a white windowless van, which was incredible. So yeah, things like that it endeared me to the show. And even stuff like Macon Blair, the lawyer next door, like their relationship. There's so many things that were just very little in and out, funny, side characters galore. It's just such a deep cast, a deep show. I don't know. It was a living thing that there's not enough of these shows.
Yeah, his relationship with the antiques dealer too was great.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole back and forth. I loved his, dynamic and how he dealt with them and all that kind of stuff. It was like it's a fun show. It's a good show. It's a heady show too. So I really enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, and even with the stuff with his ex and that evolving stuff too, that's humanized it too and added more besides just his kid, which is an interesting dynamic too. But yeah, I think this is so repeatable and it's so well crafted. I would want these, every year. It's 8 episodes. Like, what are we doing? Just make it. You already crushed me with taking away English teacher, God damn it. But please bring the Lowdown back for at least one more season. I need to see proof of concept. I need people to watch this show. That's the problem, is I don't know if the ratings are there.
Yeah,
and that's
either.
hard. And I wonder with English teacher, I don't want to dwell too much on that, whether it was a mix of there was potential controversy with their lead star and creator, and then there was potential issue with ratings and things like that too, that I don't know if it latched on as much as I hoped. But that show's so fucking funny. It's so good and it's so smart. So that's gonna be a tough one to deal with going forward. So let's move on to Slow Horses. This is one, again, that I watched the finale. Like, I was so in every single week, locked in, and then in your convalescence, you caught up on this one as well. Another show that is very rewarding for a binge when you collect it. Some people, I have friends in my life who are like, oh, Slow Horses came back? Cool, I'll talk to you in like 2 months because I'm not going to watch it week to week. I want to burn through it, all in one shot because they just love it that way. And this isn't 24 where you have to inhale something, for like a weekend or whatever. This one you could bang out in a day if you have no plans. And I assume that's kind of sort of where you were. What did you think, Glenn? This was what, season 5 we're in now?
Season 5, correct.
And this show's floor is so high, but I will say I think I enjoyed the earlier seasons a little better. I thought this season started out white hot with all the chaos that was going on, and eventually kind of like got into this rhythm where it was just like, the team will bail them out. The team will bail them out. They'll do something. The team will bail them out. And it wasn't as much like just continuous intrigue. Like there was enough going on. I still really like this show, but I feel like there was some casting stuff that was iffy, like the guy from Ted Lasso, what's his name? Nick Mohammed, I believe.
Yeah.
Playing the mayor, I thought was a miscast, and them kind of bringing in not a Trump character, but I believe they do have a British version over there that's a little more pointed, but having that kind of a character opposite him and whatever, and his death, wink.
Yeah.
How that happened and the kind of you could take that either way. You could either be like, oh, that's why I love this show. This is hilarious. This is dumb. Or you could be like, no, how did nothing really come about that? And then just kind of, you could take it either way. It's a show that doesn't really have a lane that it's going to take you in. It's either trying to be funny or it's trying to be, all out action or any of it. So that's the beauty of the show. But I think there were some things with this season that I was like, this is a good season, but it isn't where I love the show in its first probably 2-3 seasons.
I actually enjoyed this season more than season 4, to be honest with you.
I think that's true too, by the way. But I still think they're, again, it's a high floor show, but I wonder if we're going to get back to the heights.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this season. Like you said, it started white hot. Oh
my God.
But once you get into it though, like I can't stop watching this show. Like I just can't. It's
still one of my favorite shows on television. I don't want to poo-poo this. It's one
of the more bingeable shows you'll ever come across.
Of course.
Like I love how at the beginning they focused on just the idiocy that Ho is.
Yeah.
I thought that stuff was just hysterical.
Yeah.
But really, come on, man. You watch the show because of Gary Oldman, man. And just the way he interacts with the characters and he treats certain one of them and he manipulates them, especially with River and that kind of situation. I'm kind of with you on the casting with the Ted Lasso character as the mayor. That kind of took me out a little bit. I just didn't feel like he felt right there.
And that finale drives me nuts too, because how is there not a ton of security with the mayor of London in a small church on a big holiday after there's been so much chaos? Are you out of your mind?
Yeah,
there's
I know.
2 people with him.
That part kind of I was like, really, especially with the manager of Nick Mohammed's character, confronting him. They never went anywhere with that. Why was he even confronting him? What was that about?
Yeah.
He ran away, nothing happened. But I do like how, wink, wink, he met his demise. I thought that was hysterical. I thought that whole scene, River getting the jumpsuit and just trying to explain himself to Gary Oldman, was just gold. And then when Gary Oldman busts ass in that office, I was dying, dude.
Yeah.
So freaking good. But you're right. Like, I do like the final scene where the head of MI5 tries to like fire Gary Oldman.
That was perfect. And it actually adds more. And we'll get to my next question. Maybe you could follow up with it here too. The additions to actual things we're adding to Gary Oldman's character this season. Like, he tells that story, which is amazing.
Yes.
And for us to go like, oh, is it made up? Is it not? And then to kind of figure out where it is by the end of the season that they went back to it and added. And then to have that final confrontation to seeing like, oh, he does care. And this is why he cares. And we're kind of still adding pieces in this show, which I do appreciate. Some people just show up for like, this is the crime of the season. This is the terrorist of the season, whatever kind of a thing. This is the stuff I think where we might get a season coming up soon that's going to be like, have real legs and some real impact because of stuff like this.
Yeah, no, I was blown away when they went and revisited the story that he told. And you see the last scene with him putting his socks on and stuff like that. I was like, holy shit. Like, I love how they're just adding layers to Gary Oldman's character. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of depth there. And I was kind of shocked when you watch the season finale, they already have the trailer for the next season. I didn't know that. I wasn't realizing that.
They've been doing this every season.
And I'm like, that looks amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible. This is one of the best shows on TV for the last, 3 years now? 3 years, right?
Yeah,
2022 is the
3
first.
years. Yeah, I think that's right.
It is phenomenal. It's probably close to my top 5 once I sit down and really go over what we've seen this year. But for those who aren't watching Slow Horses, and I always try to speak this to people, I'm like, you need to sit down and watch this show. And you'll just like be hooked on this show.
I feel like right now my highbrow, lowbrow, and that's I say those both with love. The highbrow year after year, even less than a year later version of Slow Horses is what I look to probably the most of like all the shows that are running. I'm probably missing something, but then Reacher is like the lowbrow version of that, where it's like he's just the meaty version of that. But I still look forward to it almost with the same conviction because I want it year after year. I need another season of him just winding up and taking some people out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I just love at the rate they're putting these seasons out. There's no lag time. Like, they're not giving you, a year and a half, 2 years between seasons. What the hell happened last season? Like, they're just rolling this ball down the hill, man.
Yeah.
And until they prove me wrong, like I said, some seasons, like you said, the first couple seasons were like the highlight. But they already set like a high bar with those early seasons.
Yeah.
So even though these may not be on that level, it's still some of the better television you'll see this year.
I'll watch every season until it's over. I don't care. I have, as the proverbial season tickets. I'm in.
Yep, me too.
There's no change there. Let's just real quick. I want to get your thoughts on another Apple TV Plus show, Pluribus, which is the new show coming out of not the universe, but the same Vince Gilligan, his new show coming off of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. This is a very interesting show because it seems like between the trailer and I hear people's initial reactions that it's a show that's hard to put your finger on for good reason, and that people kind of are almost inserting meaning into when it's kind of just a little amorphous at this point in the early stages of they don't really know. It could be about AI, it could be about this, about that, and it's like you have no clue because it's so strange but yet intriguing. How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, this show is hard to explain, so I'll do my best because it's kind of all over the place. Rhea Seehorn is the lead in this, which I don't really.
Saul. Yeah,
Better Call Saul. And she's with a friend. She's like a novelist, and they're discussing like her next book or what she should be doing. And they're at a bar having a good time. And all of a sudden, they step outside and they see like this pickup truck just cruising down and crashing into another car.
Right.
So she runs over and is like, the guy's passed out, doesn't know what's going on. She turns around, her friend's like just drops the phone and like passes out. She's trying to get help. And then when she goes into the bar, everyone's like standing in this trance. Like everyone is in a trance, no matter where she goes. So we're like figuring out what is going on.
Right.
It kind of sets it up earlier where these physicists, astrologers pick up on this weird signal from like 6 million light years away, which we don't really know the significance of that. But because of that signal, somehow it hypnotized these people because they go from comatose to all of a sudden kind of waking up,
right?
But all know her name, and they like she's one of 11 people in the world that this has not happened to. So yeah, so you got like this person speaking as like the president now, but like everyone speaks as one. So it's not like a bunch of people. Everyone is being forced to be happy and helpful. So they don't have their own personalities anymore. Everyone shares the same. Everyone's like one person.
Do you feel like it's fish out of water, like the beginning of Life of Chuck? Because that's what I was thinking, where it's like, oh, we don't know that this is in his brain until it's too late, kind of a thing.
Yeah, almost. Like I said, it's so hard to explain and wrap your head around because it's such an interesting pilot, and you're just like intrigued, like what is going on. But the pilot did enough for me to be like, yeah, I want to find out like why this is happening and why didn't she get affected by it. And so it's off to a good start, man. Like it's a strong, strong pilot. And I love this kind of sci-fi show. Like I was a huge fan of the X-Files, Twilight Zone, and this feels
Which
like
Vince Gilligan was an X-Files writer, so yeah.
He was an X-Files writer, so this feels like it's in that X-File world.
Okay.
So I would be interested if it is alien, because they say they're not. Like they specifically say they are not alien. I'm just curious to see where they go now. But this was a nice start to this new show.
Interesting. I'd love another puzzle box show. It's going to be interesting to go back to again, like another week-to-week show. I think they just came out with episode 3 this week.
Yep. So I got to catch up on it.
Yeah. So same. But I know, like, I think we talked about it off air between all the movies we're catching up on, the the beacon in the distance of like, oh shit, Stranger Things is getting closer,
yeah.
and all those episodes are going to be feature length, and we're going to be talking about them for quite some time. And then, yeah, we're going to be rolling into the end of the year with some massive, franchise stuff and finales of stuff that you're watching. You're keeping up with Welcome to Derry, I assume, and some other shows out there. So, yeah, there's a lot still going on. So it's an interesting time of year. Real quick, I just kind of like want to punch through some things. There are good movies out there. I swear to God. Like we talked about, Predator Badlands just last week. That's a good movie. Had a great second week. Still running along. So that should actually do great numbers. We'll have to probably check in on that soon enough. But I saw Nuremberg. That one is still out in theaters. It probably won't be out for very much longer. It's making okay money, but not enough to probably sustain a lot longer in its window. But if you enjoy World War II history, trial stuff, and historical fiction, as it were, watch this because there's a lot of big performances. Russell Crowe is excellent in it, and there's just a lot of really good performances from like Richard E. Grant, Michael Shannon, and Rami Malek, and there's a lot of goodness in there, and a very you could feel the modernity that they want to stamp on this to be like, hey, watch out for fascism. They won't be wearing uniforms this time. Wink. So be sure to check that one out. I enjoyed that one. Left-Handed Girl is out in limited theaters and will be out on Netflix on the 28th. I just did a discussion with the director of that film. One of the best Netflix films of the year. Comes out, like I said, on the 28th, so not this Friday, but next Friday. And so will that interview be on for what's on Netflix.com, where I also am doing Christmas movie stuff on there. A Merry Little Xmas with Alicia Silverstone, my crush for 30 years at this point of my life. So yeah, check her out. Champagne Problems with Minka Kelly comes out on Wednesday. I'll have a review out for that one as well. Train Dreams, one of Netflix's Oscar hopefuls, comes out on Friday. My review in full will be also out on Friday on what's on Netflix.com. And real quick, because this one I actually had, how many times, Shane, during October did I say, God damn it, why didn't they release Keeper? in October when it's like 'tis the season. This is Osgood Perkins coming off of Long Legs and the Monkey. Why is Keeper not in October?
Right.
It could be on the fucking moon. This movie is baffling. And I did not have a good time. I thought it was had some very striking images that will linger, much like he's really good at with stuff like Long Legs, some lasting imagery, and really good cinematography, actually, for the fact that this is just shot the shit out of this cabin in the woods. It's essentially like a 1 to 2 location kind of a thing. But this story is kind of incoherent, and I didn't care, and it's creepy. So if you just want to go for the creep factor, cool. If not, this is at best a 2.5. It was very disappointing for, and this is again, he's sliding down from me, Osgood Perkins. Long Legs is his best. The Monkey was disappointing, and this was even more disappointing. So Osgood Perkins, you got to step back up to the plate, buddy, if you want to play with the big boys like Zach Kreger and Coogler and Jordan Peele and whoever else we want, and the Philippou brothers and all the other ones that we adore. So there's a lot of good in there. Maybe some things that we're telling you to maybe you could stay away from. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of great TV shows that we listed, and there'll be more. And good God, man, it's going to stack up. I know Shane's looking forward to Wicked and Avatar, like all these like big franchise stuff coming through the end of the year. He just can't wait.
How dare you, sir?
His pants are defying gravity right now by staying on his body. He's just so excited. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting next few weeks. I think I'm looking most forward to Stranger Things because it's been so long.
Yep.
But that's, God, I'm even doing the rewatch, which people, maybe do that. Like if you're disappointed with The Running Man and Keeper and some of these other things out in theaters, you can always stay home and do a little rewatch and catch up before the new season comes, because we will cover it in full. Be sure to subscribe to the pod. Hit us up on the socials at Recent Act Pod, and be sure to come back next week for more recent activity.